Welcome back to another episode of Big Black Crypto. Today's episode is going to be about Space ID protocol. I want to introduce you to the Auction Explorer, the unofficial Auction Explorer created by Stephen Kin. Absolutely glorious design. I enjoyed it throughout the auction. This is the final 30 minutes condensed into 10 minutes. And I just wanted to, introduce my community to the Space ID community of which I am an ambassador of. So before we begin, massive shout out to Space ID protocol for reaching 280,685 registered domains. For those of you who don't understand, that's 250,000 .bnbs minted and printed. To those of you in the audience who are new to the project, go get you a .bnb at app.space.id, or check it out as well if you want to read over some docs and blogs at space.id. Space ID is building a universal name service network which seamlessly connects people, information, assets, and applications across blockchains. It's chain agnostic, decentralized, censorship resistant, and open source. Now, to discuss what you're witnessing was in real time, yes indeed, the capture of the final 30 minutes of the live auction as displayed on the unofficial Domain Explorer created by Stephen Kin. I would say they ran by far the most professional auction distribution I've had the luxury of participating in. It was done fairly. I can see why they have established themselves as the best project being BUIDled on the Binance Smart Chain. Like, they're the only competition that I see that they'd have is probably on another blockchain. I don't see them having true competition, as far as things go on Binance. It is what it is. They are superior to every other domain on the Binance Smart Chain. No disrespect, but .bnb is what you want if you're a serious Binancian, so to speak. And that, don't take that personal, my fellow netizens. That's not, a shot at anybody. It's just for me, as a Binancian, as a Binance fan, a hodler, I want .bnb and nothing else. So I hope people understand, like, when you think of that kind of fanaticism or and endearing passion towards this new emerging economy, it's that kind of fandom that makes this so exciting. So for the Space ID protocol team, I anticipate they're going to enjoy a lot of value based on the use case and applications. And for those who engage early, what I like to tell people, new entrants to market aren't new to making money, right? And the more you get into Web3, the more you start going down that rabbit hole. But this is different, right? Like, you start researching, you start, making friendships or loose connections. And the exchange of information is so much more engaging. It's when you're in the Discord, it's just as you find on Twitter, there's this neural effect when people are exchanging information across chain, right? Your future is as multi-chain as you are, so it's really up to you. And I see .bnb as being the overall aggregate solution that we've been desiring for quite some time, right? So on that note, I just want to move things a little bit forward. It's, when I look at them and I think of kind of like the precedent established of prior case studies and utility specific to that market growth, I think of ENS. And when I did an evaluation of ENS, at the gates, I got 4 BN to 6 BN. I look at the ENS token, it got a market cap of, at present, 445 million. It's not about the money. The market has demonstrated via other appraisals and evaluations exceeding BNs. So when you consider that, .bnb is the best domain on the Binance chain, and the Binance chain is a $50 billion protocol, you have to start to wonder at what point does .bnb, should they ever, because I get asked a lot about an airdrop, so I just say, just look at precedent, right? Don't bother the developers, they're busy building, we're in a bear market, and all that matters right now is that we continue to build out infrastructure or integrate with the infrastructure necessary to make certain things possible. And the money is going to be there regardless, right? There's just that much adoption, it's hard to ignore. So for me, I don't really dwell on price points and stuff like that, but again, just if you want to take a look at things, go look at people who are in a similar space on a different chain, and you'll get a vibe for where things are in market and where potential could be, right? When somebody was offering to buy ENS Visions, which is a similar Explorer and marketplace, like it's basically like an Explorer and OpenSea, right? That's what I kind of envisioned Stephen Kin doing with this Explorer is, this becoming at some point, or Space ID protocol adopting similar concept, right? Explorer and marketplace with auctions, bulks, and sweeps. And so on that note, for me, that's kind of like where that excitement is. But then there also too with the domains, you're seeing like this social component, right? YouTube's gonna introduce domain handles to 1 billion users, and you don't have a .bnb, you're not scooping up different .bnb domains. Because remember, the benefit of having an aggregate source, eventually, I know some of the people are sitting on blue sky for Twitter, right? On the advisory council, like I know which execs of which protocol sit on the advisory council for Blue Sky, which it's kind of like, when I think of what they do for Twitter, they kind of introduce some wild shit for Twitter. So for what .bnb becomes, or what you become, is the wallet owner owns the name, and you could only be your chain name. So if you don't own your name, like for example, like Big Black Crypto, I'm gonna be the only Big Black Crypto because I own my name across all chains. Like, or somebody's like, that's the way I view it, right? And that's where I see the benefit of like owning the .bnb, right? Is it's not just about namesake and claiming stake and landmarking, your surface point as yourself, but then as well too, right? People just squat on shit like recklessly. Why not, in some cases, own the permanence, the immutability of your own namesake, your brand, or just whatever purpose you intend to use it for, like a decentralized a website connected to IPFS. There's options. Now, before we go, I just want to also reference a couple things. So those are, so go beyond the money. Don't worry about that. Like hypothetically, if VeriSign had sold 27 years ago, they wouldn't be worth $19.3 billion today. So that's kind of one of the incentives, for ENS .visions not selling. And that's kind of one of the incentives for ENS, like .visions not selling. When you think about, and at the present moment, it's about serving your chain and being able to integrate with other chains. There's so much work to be done, and market user growth is set to grow by about 200%. So this is why you've seen, Space ID protocol go from 117,000 followers to a current tally of 172,000 followers. A couple months ago, they were at 53,000 members on Discord. Now they're at 78,000 members on Discord. Like, they're rapidly onboarding users, by the tens of thousands. And soon they're going to be sitting easily with millions of users, fully integrated with the .bnb domain. So I encourage you to go and check them out. P.S. By the way, the top 10 premium selected .bnb domains that were auctioned off the start, 00.bnb, for example, sold for over 1,100 BNB. All in total selling for 670,000 worth of BNB. Now, some of y'all might not understand, but that's a lot. In only the first 3 weeks of .bnb domain pre-registration, around 10,000 users participated and over 19,000 .bnb names were registered. there's tremendous interest and use case in the utility.